What is going on, everyone? Parsnip here, and today I wanted to talk a bit more about the factions of Bless Online. So with the game coming closer and closer to release, I have been noticing a lot of rivalries between the players of the different factions. Heck, the Bless Reddit is pretty much filled with posts on which one is better, the Union or Hyrian, and I'm absolutely loving these types of posts. Now, the things I see is pretty much down with the Holy Empire, rebel scum, for the Union, join us or die, and believe it or not, this is actually getting me pretty excited. I always think it's really good to have some sort of rivalry in the game. A great example of this was Archage. I really love how, just because you're in a different team, you end up hating each other for absolutely no reason, right? The game hasn't even come out and there's already this much of a rivalry going on. So I figured it's about time that I decide which faction I should join. Now at first I was actually thinking about joining the Union. Now the scenery of the Union is personally more my style, it looks amazing. The idea to fight for freedom is really cool. However, I think it'll be too easy. Everyone really wants to join the Union. I don't know why. However, if you look at Japanese servers, and you'll notice that the Union gets so much players that they actually have to lock the faction, right? You can only create characters for the Hyrian Alliance. So I figured that I would go ahead and join the one true empire, the one that stands above all, the one who shall purge the non-believers.
Rise, my friend.
The Union shall bow before us.
So there you guys have it. I myself will be joining the Hyrian Alliance. With that being said, while I was editing this Star Wars video that you guys just saw, I remembered that in Archage I was actually part of the West, and in my server's case the West was a lot smaller than the East. Now I was part of a small guild called Gempire, and thinking back I remembered how much fun it actually was. Sure, the East had it a lot easier compared to us, especially during the events and controlling the zones. They had a much bigger population, so it was much easier for them. However, the West in comparison was a lot calmer. We wouldn't be arguing with each other. Our guilds were, believe it or not, they were actually friendly and united. Our goal was not to grief each other, but to help. I remember back during the Kraken events in Archage how if I actually missed a boat, or for some reason our galleon were destroyed or something along those lines, we could always just hop on a galleon from someone in the West and they would be more than happy to help. Now on my alt account, which was on the East, I would actually be told to get off or they would actually kill me. So it was a very big difference in experience. Since they were so big, they fought within each other. Their guilds, there were like 2 or 3 big guilds there on the East, I think, while on the West we had one and it ended up disbanding or whatever. So it was just a bunch of small guilds on the West, and on the East they had a couple of really big guilds, and those big guilds were always be fighting each other for zones, lands, and things like that. So even though they did have that massive amount of players and sure they could control the zones and get a lot of the events easier, there would always be a ton of conflicts. People would constantly be fighting for those farming spots, the lands, and things like that. So I pretty much remember that though we of the East were rarely able to get the loot from the Kraken, when we did, it actually felt amazing. It felt like a challenge. It wasn't just a bunch of people cluttering and not even knowing what they're doing. We had to actually combine with other guilds, make some sort of strategy and things like that, and it was overall really fun. Sure, 1 out of the 10 times we would actually get something, and the other 9s we would just die, lose everything, and it would suck. However, I think that was an experience that really made me enjoy being part of the smaller side, the weaker team. It was really fun. It felt really good that a bunch of small guilds. Even though we weren't really that close to each other, we would do in some events, join up, and even though we had fewer numbers, we would make the best of it that we could. You know, we would pick someone to be the leader, go in the Discord at the time. It wasn't Discord, I think. I forgot what it was at the time. It was some other voice chat program when I played Archage. But whatever the case, you know, we had the servers, we would join, someone would take the lead and things like that. And it was a ton of fun. Now, I know this doesn't actually mean that it'll be the same on Blast, you know, sure. Because on the Japanese server, you know, it had a lot of people in the Union compared to Hirian. In fact, if you look at the polls and things like that, constantly people of the West, in America and in Europe, they're all saying, not all, but the majority, you know, it's like 60% I would say Hirian and 40%, or 60% Union and 40% Hirian. I'll show you guys a couple of screenshots and straw polls, and you'll probably notice already that if you've been following the forums, the Reddit, that more people are just more inclined to the rebels. They don't like the idea of a holy empire, a nation that's trying to unite everyone. And when I was thinking, I actually thought that it sort of reminded me of the Empire from Star Wars. You know, even though the Empire is thought of this bad guys, it's from the rebels' perspective, right? And I think that on the case of Blast, it's not exactly the same, but I do like to think that we're like that Empire. You know, we have the rebels that are trying like to free everyone and things like that, and we're just, you know, this awesome holy empire. I don't know, there's something about it that made me want to go for it, even though I think I prefer the landscapes and the zones of the Union. So yeah guys, I pretty much decided that I'll go ahead with that one true empire, that holy nation. And for those of you who are part of the Rebel Scum, let's have a blast and make the most of this MMO. Of course, it will be quite some time before we actually get another one, guys. So no matter if you're from the Union, from the Hirian, or if you don't really care, as long as you're having fun, that's what really matters. So as always guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.